Hi, welcome to part four of Fred and Leah. Um, I was looking back at part three, and it seems that it cuts off in the middle of the chapter. I think uh, the battery must have died on the laptop or something, and I completely forgot about it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start part four from Friday, the 8th of March, 1940. So you'll get a little bit of what I read at the end of part four, and then it will carry on. Okay, get myself comfortable. Right, so there we go. Ready? You're probably going to hear the car wash outside. Maybe the cats will want to join in halfway through, but let's see how it goes. Friday, the 8th of March, 1940, Monk Weymouth, England. Come on, Jim, put down that stick. Jim dropped the stick and ran up to catch up with his father. What were you doing with it? Freddie asked him. I was hunting lions, Jim said with pride. Come on, his father laughed and led him by the hand into his father-in-law, James's grocery shop. Fred waited while James finished serving a customer, a short old woman in a raincoat and headscarf. The co-op didn't have any marmalade either, she was saying. And do you know what they told me? They said they wouldn't sell me 1 pound of lard, and if I wanted more, I'd have to buy compound. The man behind the counter claimed it looked almost the same, but do you know what? It's a mix of cottonseed oil and animal fat. I mean, how am I expected to cook with cottonseed oil? James nodded as the old woman recounted her words. You're very patient, said Fred once the woman had left. I have to be nice, he said. With all the evacuees, we've lost so much business. We have to be nice to the customers we have. Any news? Fred asked. Nothing. James shook his head. I'll let you know as soon as we get a call. All right, said Fred, resigned to having to wait longer to find out whether their new baby would be a boy or a girl. Did you hear about Mrs. Holmes? Asked James. Mrs. Holmes? You know, she used to teach at St. Bennett's. Fred pretended to remember but couldn't. She was found dead on Roker Beach. Fred raised his eyebrows. He might not have known the woman, but it was still a terrible thing. She lived with her invalid sister, said James. She always seemed very nervy. She had a nervous breakdown last year. I saw her last Thursday. We laughed and joked together. Now she's dead. Her poor brain must have snapped. You don't think it was an accident? Asked Fred. I don't think so, said James. And she's left her poor sister penniless. She'll end up in the institute. Fred was shocked, but he didn't say so. If anything happened to him, the army would continue to look after Leah for a while. But if something happened to Leah, he wondered what would happen to the children. James was in no position to take care of a baby and a toddler, and the rest of Leah's family had their own children to look after, and plenty of them, with more on the way. Even the youngest sister, Beatty, was pregnant and living down in Billingham with her husband, Isaac. He thought of his own mother and sister in Beverley. Bob was a living maid, and Minnie was already looking after Bob's daughter. His mother might look after the kids, but she was already looking after his brother Harry's son. Last he heard, she was thinking of billeting a soldier and his wife. She might not be able to take on two more. Of course, Fred dare not share these thoughts with Leah. He felt guilty for thinking that anything might happen to her. You all right? Asked James, noticing his son-in-law's daydreaming. Yeah, sorry, said Fred. I was miles away. On the way home, Fred had seen the army delivering food to soldiers billeted in the area. He was amazed to see loaves on the floor of the van without any covering, and the men carrying the food with hands as black as soot. No wonder so many men were getting ill. He hoped that they didn't handle the food at Gosforth Park in the same way, but resolved to mention it to Major Potts on his way home. Saturday, 9th of March, 1940, Sunderland Maternity Hospital, England. Fred looked at the little bundle of flesh in his wife's arms, and then at his wife, who didn't look as pleased as he had expected. What is it, love? He asked. It's nothing, she said, though Fred could see it was something. She offered him the tiny baby. Go on, hold her, she said. Are you sure? Fred asked, looking at his daughter unsure of what to do with her. His daughter wasn't a Vickers machine gun and was outside his comfort zone. Yes, you can give my arms a rest, she said. I've been carrying the two. Two of them? Fred asked. Yeah, two. I thought I'd had twins at first. They've had me breastfeeding the boy from that woman on the end. She doesn't have any milk of her own. Takes it out of me. Fred held his daughter like a full tray of drinks, scared he might drop her. My breasts are so sore, Leah whispered. Fred nodded in sympathy, not sure what to advise. You'll be home in a week, he said. She just looked at him. It's funny, she said almost to herself. I could have sworn I had twins. It's the strangest thing, but the doctor insists there was only one. Fred wasn't sure how to take this. You all right? He asked. I feel so useless, she said. I thought I'd be so happy to see my baby, but I feel so helpless stuck here. Are you sleeping all right? Leah shrugged. Better than I was. She looked at her daughter in Fred's arms. She'll distract me from all this business about the war. Fred followed Leah's gaze out the window, where the rain was falling. It'll be good for the flowers, she said. I'm surprised that anything survived this winter. I saw snowdrops in the garden this morning, and the crocuses are coming up. Thursday, 21st of March, 1940, Sunderland Registry Office, England. Where's the other one? Asked Leah as she placed her daughter into the pram. What other one? Fred asked. Leah shook herself back to reality. Sorry, she said. I was so used to having two in the hospital. You're all right, love. I've got a bit of a temperature, that's all. Well, let's get you to the doctor. No, I'm all right, Fred. No point spending money. It's just a little temperature. I'll be right as rain before long. Just something I picked up in the hospital, I expect. She took the blankets around her baby. And anyway, if we don't get to the registry office today, we'll have to wait until Tuesday, and the army might have whisked you off again by then. They shouldn't have done, he said. Well, let's not risk it, shall we? You've already booked the vicar for Sunday. What did he say again? He said that Easter Sunday was the perfect day for christening because it symbolized his new birth. You see, said Leah, it's the perfect time. Come on, let's go. She pushed the pram to the front door. Becca had given it to her now that Bill was too old for him. I can smell fish, said Fred. It's beety, said Leah. I couldn't get any olive oil, so I had to use cod liver oil. Poor sod, said Fred, looking at his daughter. Seems very quiet, doesn't it? Leah commented when they reached the town centre. Fred nodded. Considering it's Easter weekend, she said. Leah sat down on the bench. You all right? Fred asked. Leah nodded, then shook her head. What's wrong? Leah sighed. Fred parked the pushchair next to the bench, then sat down and lifted Jim onto his lap. They sat in silence for a moment. Fred was watching her all the time. Is there something you want to tell me? He said, releasing Jim to chase the pigeons. I just can't get it out of my head. What's that, love? This feeling that I had twins. But you didn't. You had little Beatty. I know, that's what the doctor said. And anyway, Fred had adopted a jovial tone to try and lift her mood. Imagine having to wash two sets of nappies. My breasts are still very sore, she said. The midwife said it was very common. She said it would get better by itself. Fred looked around to make sure no one could hear them. Well, if it's not better by Tuesday, let's get you to the doctor. Did the midwife have any helpful ideas? She suggested I massage my breasts and apply hot and cold compresses to ease the pain. Fred checked the coast was still clear. Have you been doing that? He asked. I've been trying. She also told me to feed Beatty more often. She said that might help. Fred noticed that Leah had bitten her fingernails to the quick. She was not the feisty Weirsider he'd met in the Naffy and Leeds. Do you worry? He asked. She nodded. At times like these, we need to be thankful for what we have, he said, and remember that though we might be short of a few things, we're still better off than the Poles, the Finns, and the Jews. But it makes me feel so little and futile, she said, and there's always the fear that one day the bombers will come, and yet no one wants to talk about it. Listen, do you want to hear a joke one of my men told me? Asked Fred, thinking of Fusilier Barnett. All right then, she said. She liked it when Fred was silly. A man walks into the record office and asks to change his name. The clerk is not keen on helping, but asks the man's name. The man replies, My name is Adolf Stinkfoot. The clerk is sympathetic and decides to allow the man to change his unfortunate name. What do you want to change it to? Asks the clerk. The man replies, Morris Stinkfoot. Leah couldn't help herself from laughing. Fred smiled at seeing his wife in a gay mood for a change. Oh, Fred, it's the first time I've laughed in ages. And that brings to the end the reading of part 4 of Fred and Leah. If you want to hear part 5, you should subscribe and press notifications and all that kind of malarkey. And on the channel, you can see me reading these other books: Live with Sassy, Live with the Headless Mule, Astonishing Anniversaries of James and Dave, When the Well Runs Dry, and one that isn't up there, the Doomed Planet. So check those out if you'd like me to see me doing damage to some of my books. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.